What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video, and today I wanted to show you guys how to best set up your Raspberry Pi. Now, as I stated in the intro of the video, I want to hop back in and show you guys how the best way to set up your Raspberry Pi. And this is basically a Linux operating system I think you guys should check out, or distribution, so to speak, that I think you guys should check out. It's the easiest way of setting up a Raspberry Pi. And what I'm talking about is DietPi. And this is an awesome distribution for the Raspberry Pi. And you can also use it on other IoT devices. But one of the cool things about this distribution, it basically has all the software in an easy to use menu that you can walk through and set up once you get the software on the SD card. Now, the way I'll be showing it is a little bit different. I won't show you exactly on a Raspberry Pi because it's kind of hard to record exactly what I'm doing on a Raspberry Pi. So I'll download the PC version of the actual distribution, and it's the exact same way if you're running it on a Raspberry Pi. So let's hop over to DietPi's website so I can walk you guys through what it's all about. Now, what brought me around to actually do this video, I was actually in my Discord server and someone asked a question about setting up Docker on their Raspberry Pi. And I thought about this distribution. I was like, man, I totally forgot about this distribution. I wanted to show you guys this a couple years back when I first found out about it. But since that brought it back up into my memory, I went on and hopped in and just wanted to show you guys DietPi. But this is the website to actually get DietPi. It's dietpi.com. And as you can see, it has an excellent website. You know what I'm saying? A lot of information on it. It says truly optimized, simple interface, DietPi software. You know, you got all this included with DietPi. So let me go down and go to the download page, just show you how to get it right fast. But if we scroll back up to the top, just hit downloads. Well, actually it's going down, but that's basically it. The default for the distribution is root and DietPi is the password. And then all these boards right here, all you have to do is select the download based on the type of board that you have. So Raspberry Pi, all models. You got your Odroid, NT, the Pine 64s, Rock 64s, I mean. And then you have a whole bunch of boards on here, like the Asus Tinker board. That's one that I've played around with in the past as well. You got your Zero Pi, Nano Pi. So it's all depending on whatever your board is. And then if you want to test it out and just play around with it within a virtual machine, they do have VMware version. They have a VirtualBox version you can download, Microsoft Hyper-V, so you can play around with it there, Parallels, and then other devices. Now what I'm gonna use is the native PC because that works best on my Proxmox server, and that will afford me the opportunity to actually record this thing and show you guys the full process of actually setting it up. Now when you have a Raspberry Pi, it's pretty much the exact same process as far as setting up your Raspberry Pi that I will show you using the native PC version. It simply has a wizard that you walk through and you select all your software that you need or you want installed on the system, and a few other default settings and configurations, and then just go through the install and it'll install the operating system for you. And it's super cool because you can even install a desktop environment, and this makes it a whole lot easy to set up a Raspberry Pi for a specific purpose. For instance, let's say you want to set up Pi-hole. Pi-hole is basically a DNS server that kind of blocks ads. Well, they have that option within the menu selection to set up a Pi-hole, and you just select it and then hit install, and it installs the operating system on the actual Raspberry Pi, and right away you'll have Pi-hole installed. So to me, this is the simplest way of actually setting up your Raspberry Pi, and I just want to show you guys the process so you guys can actually check this out instead of just sticking with the simple Raspbian and trying to go through and install whatever software you want. Then you can go through and use this, and this will install everything and have it up and running for you in no time. So let's hop over to my virtual machine so we can go through the install right fast. Alright, so I want to show you guys what exactly will pop up as soon as you boot up the system with the ISO burnt to the SD card. It'll pop up with basically somewhat of a grub menu, and then you can just go through and select what you want. So install DietPi, install DietPi VGA with large font and to RAM. So you can do it either way. KMS, safe graphic settings, so VGA normal. They also have a fail safe mode, and then you can also go into Clonezilla, which is super cool. That's actually on here as well, but I'm gonna just click on the first one, and that's basically VGA 800 by 600. So let's press enter, and I know this is super small, but it's gonna get bigger a little bit once we get over to the actual ISO. And then what you want to do is kind of wait around, because it takes a little while to unzip everything and then open up so we can go through the install. But as you can see, you can choose your target disk, which I recommend you choose, you know, the disk that'll pop up. It'll pop up with the right one. You can just hit tab, and that'll take you down to OK, and that'll select our main disk. I know that's the right disk because it's the 32 gig disk that I assigned to this virtual machine. So it'll go through and clone everything over to the main hard drive, or the main partitions on the server. It'll actually partition everything. It'll create the partition tables and set everything up for you to install the operating system. So all we have to do is wait for this to happen. This is automatic, you know what I'm saying? So I'll be back when this actually finishes. Now, one thing it'll do once it actually copies everything over, it'll reboot the system. And once the system reboots, it'll come back up with an actual login, and it basically gives you the username and password. So all you have to do is type that in. Well, press enter first, and then type in your username and password, and it'll get you to the actual install. And right now it's not running off the ISO, it's actually running off the files that are copied over to the partitions with the install files on it, and it'll basically just write everything out to the right partitions for you. Now let's just log into it right fast. So like I said, all you have to do is type roots and then DietPi, and that'll log us into it. Boom. And then it'll hop right into, you know, the licensing, so you accept that. And then it'll, like I said, it'll go to the installer. It'll do its updates, you know what I'm saying, if it needs any updates to the actual system itself, and then it'll pop up with the install, and you'll see that pop up in a couple seconds. I'll be back if it takes longer. All right, that's cool. So it pops up with a survey. I'm gonna just opt out of it and purge any uploaded data, and we can press enter there. And that's just basically some identification information. It doesn't capture specific information, but it does capture some information about the hardware that this is being used on, so they can make updates to the software if they need to. So you can send that information, but I typically don't, especially since I'm doing it on a virtual machine. It doesn't matter. Now right here, it's basically asking, do you want to adjust the default global software password? Now I recommend you do this, and I'll just go on and change mine, but please enter the new global software password. So all you have to do is type in a password here. Boom, press enter, type it in twice. Boom. And then also change the Unix password. So we want to change that too. So that's the root password. We could change that as well. And you can change it to whatever you want. Just try to make it secure, because a lot of people are actually trying to hit these IoT devices. So when you open them up to the world, you want to make sure you change the password, the default password, because if someone kind of sees this system on the web, they may just simply try root and DietPi, because we all know the default password for this system is, you know, DietPi. Now right here it says a serial console is currently enabled. Would you like to disable it? Now you don't have to. So I'm gonna just disable it, press OK, that's fine. And now we're at the actual DietPi software menu. This is where all the action happens. So right here is the help. So it brings up links to online guides, documentation, you know, and other information. You can go to it if you want to check it out, grab those links and go check it out if you need to. Now the DietPi config, so you can change things as far as the configuration of the system. But the first thing I typically do is just go into the software, and you don't want to go to search software. You can search software, but I typically just go through the browse software. That way you see everything. And I wanted to show you guys this anyway, so you guys can see everything. But you have your desktop environments here at the top. You got remote desktops, VNC, you know, XRDP. But just looking at the desktops again, I shouldn't have skipped them, but they got LXDE, Mate, XFCE, which is my favorite, the new step, and LXQT. So you can check that out. That's a lightweight desktop as well. So if you're running this thing on a Raspberry Pi and you want a desktop environment, you can. And I'll go down and install one so you guys can actually see how to use it once you get the system up and going. And it won't pop up directly to a desktop environment. I'll show you guys how to actually get to it though. And like I said, the remote desktops, now you got your media systems. Now this is the way I used to quickly set up media servers, and I'm gonna just say it that way because I had a video taken down because I covered, you know, something up in here. Let me just say that. I don't want to say the name, but I did cover something in here that the algorithm pretty much didn't like. So I won't say it again, you know what I'm saying? I also took down those videos, but you can download that. They have media systems in here. And let's go all the way down. But Beats is one of my favorite music organizers. So you definitely want to check that out if you want to install that. But one cool thing about it, you know, you got your torrent software, Sonar, Radar. If you never heard of those, check them out. You know what I'm saying? Those are super cool. YouTube downloader. Also, I miss Transmission, which is one of the ones, you know, I used to use back in the day. But here's the cool part. You can set up your own cloud. You know what I'm saying? Right from the click of a button. And all I did was hit spacebar to actually select something. So on cloud, Pydia, which I don't know nothing about that one. Gogs, I don't know nothing about that one, but I do know SyncThing. I just did a SyncThing video not that long ago, which allows you to sync between systems. You know what I'm saying? They also have Nextcloud, which is super cool. Min.io, Nextcloud Talk, which is, you know, you can set up a video call, you know, server. So that's super cool right there. But another thing, this is super cool, Vault Warden. I was actually doing a video on this, but they do have Vault Warden on it. That'll be coming soon, a video of Vault Warden. It's an excellent application to store passwords and all that stuff, and it's also written in the Rust programming language. Now another cool part about DietPi, they do have gaming and emulations, so you can check that out. They got a couple Minecraft servers that you can set up and run right from a Raspberry Pi. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a big server in the cloud or whatever. You can set one up at your house on a Raspberry Pi. It's super dope. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, all this software that I'm showing you, yes, I have the desktop version of DietPi that I'm installing, but all this software is on the Raspberry Pi version as well. So all you have to do is go through and select, just like what I'm doing right here. But you got social and searches, you know, you got your RSS feeds, PHPBB, if you want to set up your bulletin board, you know what I'm saying, WordPress, you know, all that stuff right there. Camera, so this is cool. You got your camera and surveillance. You could, you know, set that up. You can stream from a camera using your Raspberry Pi. Super dope. But system stats management, you can go in here and install whatever you want. But this right here is what prompted me to do this video. The guy that I was helping in my Discord group, and if you're not part of my Discord group, go down and join it. The link is down in the description or somewhere on my website. I'll put it somewhere where you guys can find it. But if you guys got any question, you know, the easiest way is on my Discord. I just started becoming way more active in there. At one point I didn't really understand Discord too well, but now I've started to go into it again and pick it up. But Docker, he was trying to get Docker on his Raspberry Pi installed. It's a simple way to actually install it, you know what I'm saying, and get it up and running on a Raspberry Pi. So boom, simple. DietPi dashboard, so they do have a dashboard. This is a beta. I wouldn't recommend installing it just yet. Wait around, you know, until they actually get out of the beta phase. But virtual here. Oh, and one cool thing, I meant to show you guys this, but K3s, so certified Kubernetes distribution built for IoT and edge computing. So that's super cool right there that they have, you know, Kubernetes. you know, right there. So you can check that out as well. Now, hardware projects, they do have some stuff in here as far as Mosquito, which that's really the only one I know. Mosquito, which is an MQTT messaging board broker. And then also, I think I remember looking at Node-RED before, but it says tool for wiring devices, APIs, and online services. I remember messing with that, you know, one time before. I don't know exactly what I was doing, but I remember messing with it. Now, also fail to ban. So if you want fail to ban installed, you know, right away, then yeah, that's a brute force protection application that you can install. It can protect like your SSH ports. So if someone is trying to brute force your SSH ports or your MySQL port, if you have that open up outside of your network, you can protect that, you know, just looking at the ports, and set rules so you can block people that are trying to brute force. But cool, they have the web server stacks, all of them in here. So you got LASP, which is Apache's SQLite and PHP, and LAMP, which is Apache MariaDB and PHP. You got the Nginx one with SQLite and PHP, and then you got LIMP, which is Nginx, you know, MariaDB. Pretty much all of them are there, and as well as certbot, which is super cool. That allows you to, you know, set up your SSL certs, you know, simply on your server. And then also Pi-hole, like I said, it blocks ads and all that stuff. You got AdGuard, which is a powerful network ad and tracking block. I never use AdGuard, but I heard about it. And then Unbound, which is there as well. But you guys also got, you know, your typical server setup. So you got your file server, you got your VPN servers. Yeah, Samba is here, so you can just select that. You know, Pi VPN, so you set up your own like VPN, as well as OpenVPN is there. WireGuard, Wi-Fi hotspots, Tor hotspots, which is super cool. You can go down a little further down. I know they have Cups is on here. Yeah, Cups, that's cool. Tor relay, so if you want to set up your own relay for Tor, then that's an easy way to actually run it without using much resources. If you want to have your own Tor node, relay node, that's super cool. Now your SSH clients, you can set up you know, file server client. You can set up open SSH client. Also they have Samba client, NFS client, you know, file management, all that good stuff. And then you got some system tools, NVIDIA FFmpeg, Unroar, SQLite. You can install some of these database tools, you know, independent of actually going up there and do the LAMP stack or LIMP stack or whichever one. You know, you got Postgres, though, SQL, Redis, PHP MyAdmin. So that's super cool to actually manage your databases using a web tool. So that's super cool that you can install that. But you also got some cool networking tools up here, and like I said, it's pretty much any and everything you could think of. You got the Go programming language. You can set up a Go environment, Python, Git, Java. They got the text editors in here, Emacs, Vim, VimTiny, NeoVim, and then you also got your desktop utilities, so you can install Firefox, Chromium, as well as GIMP, which is super cool to see. I definitely appreciate them putting that on there, but that's super dope. So I got everything I wanted to install on this system. I don't want to go through and install anything too heavy because it'll, you know, well, let's install a web server. And that's just a simple way. I just want you guys to see that you can install some, you know, super cool or super simple. Let's select LAMP, and then let's go back down. And like I showed you guys earlier, I have a desktop environment. I'll show you guys that once we actually get into it. But let's press OK. Boom. Now we selected our software. Now the SSH server is Dropbear by default, but you can go in and select Open SSH server if you want to. All you gotta do is change it, but I'll just use Dropbear. I heard good things about Dropbear. That'll work. Now your logging system, you can play around with that. Web server preferences, and you could, you know, change this up if you want to, if you want Apache. And this is all based on whatever you select within the software. It should automatically install Apache, but I'm gonna select it anyway right there just to make sure. it installs it. And I know, even though I selected it up here, none of this really matters because I installed this actually not that long ago on a Raspberry Pi. But as long as you select it up here, it'll automatically select the right things here. So like for instance, desktop preference. If you don't, if you want to make sure it always installs XFCE, then you can select there. And then right here is some user data, and then also this menu will stay on the system. So every time you boot up the system, it'll pop up with a way to actually open up this software installer. And I'll show you guys that when we actually boot up the system. But all we have to do is go down to install, and this will actually start our install of it. And then right here, DietPi is now ready to apply your software choices. And as you can see, it kind of shows the software that we selected. So XFCE and the LAMP stack. So let's press OK. And then it'll go through and install. And I'll actually be back when this actually finishes, because what I'm gonna do is reboot the server and then bring it back up and then show you guys a little bit about it. I'm gonna show you guys the desktop environment as well as that the web server is up and running on the system. All right, cool. So the reboot was super quick, and it'll go down and give you the LAN IP address right there, as you can see, and then you can log in using that root account and new password that you set on it. And as you can see right there, it automatically tells you that the services are running on the system. So MarianDB, PHP 7.4, FPM, and Apache 2 is installed and running. And they also have cron installed, which is super cool. So you can actually go to that IP address and see that Apache is up and running, which I won't go to. I'll just go down and log into it because I wanted to show you guys how to actually get to the desktop environment. So it'll always pop up with this, and I recommend that you keep it this way. You don't want to install a desktop manager on here. You kind of want to keep it like this, because this system is meant to run headless. It's not meant to be a desktop or a normal desktop that you would use on a daily basis. It's supposed to be like a server, a headless server running on a Raspberry Pi. So this is the best way to actually use it. You know, leave the login, don't put a desktop manager on it. If you can install a desktop manager, but let's go on and log in right fast. And let's say you want to get to the desktop environment. That's what I want to show you guys. So all you have to do is type start X, and that'll start the actual XFCE desktop environment. There we go. So we logged in as root. We're good to go. You can see, you know, you got your root file system, just basically all your information there. They also have the DietPi launcher, which you don't have to go to. You can get to your terminal, you know, just like you would if you had a full desktop or a full system. Firefox is installed by default. So let me go over here and show you guys what version of Firefox it is. Let's go to help, I believe, about Firefox. So it's 91.4.1, so 64-bit. That's, you know, for this version that I downloaded. So it'll probably be a different version, a Pi version, or whatever it's called over there, if you have this thing installed on DietPi. But you can double click on HTOP. That'll open up HTOP for you right there. You can kind of see the system. And then all you have to do is log out if you want to get out of the screen. So we just hit log out, and it'll drop us back to the terminal. So log out, boom. Now we back there, and then you could just run, let's say system CTL status, and we already know it's running. I just wanted to show you guys here that is actually running. So Apache 2.service, boom. So we'll see that service is running. And actually, let's just go down and switch over to our browser so we could check out that Apache is actually running. And I believe that IP address was 105. So let's open up a new tab. All right, fast, and go to 192.168.10.105. Press enter, boom, and that's our Apache server running on our Raspberry Pi or a virtual machine. So we have that set up, so we're good to go. So as I stated, this is a simple way to actually set up your Raspberry Pi by using DietPi, and I definitely recommend you guys check this out. You know, especially if you have one of those Raspberry Pis just sitting around, just go down and try out DietPi. I'm not sponsored by them or in any way, but it's a great application or a great distribution that I think everybody should check out, especially if you want to get things up and running on your Raspberry Pi super quick. This is the simplest way of actually doing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, keep it techie.